On March 15th, 2025, I got a phone call that no parent ever wants to receive. My son William had died, alone in his kitchen cooking dinner. The night before he'd called me, he was kind of in a hurry. He'd mentioned that he was hungry and he needed some money. We'd been talking weeks before that. He was trying to get a job, trying to get his life in order, but he kind of had a desperation in his voice that he didn't know what the next step would be. And so we talked about him flying to Las Vegas, coming here temporarily. I told him I'd buy him a plane ticket or I'd help him fix his car. I had no idea that that would be the last time that I talked to him. For most of William's teenage and adult life, he was somebody that consumed alcohol on a regular basis, sometimes just partying, sometimes to cope with life. He used marijuana, pills, kratom, and more recently cocaine and fentanyl. We believe fentanyl took his life, though we're still waiting on the final autopsy report. My husband and I flew to Tennessee to make arrangements for his funeral, deal with all of his belongings and his affairs. And when we went into his home to clean it out, there were pieces that were just so evident that he was trying. I kept speaking about the fact that it looked like it was just so homely. It was still a home. There were dishes in the dishwasher. He had been cooking dinner in his kitchen where he passed away. There was clean laundry on the couch that still needed to be folded, toys of his 3 children strewn about. There were certainly other signs of struggle, addiction, aluminum foil squares, cut up straws, a roommate's mess was just everywhere. But there were Bibles too, and I think that's what was kind of so interesting to me, that he was trying, he was searching. I mean, these Bibles were everywhere, so much that we had to make a bag to put them in so we didn't destroy them or hurt them during the clean out. There was even one specifically for people struggling with addiction. He was trying. You could tell he was searching for hope, for help, for possibly God, but for some reason he just didn't make the right choice that night. His funeral was packed. There's a book that people use to sign into funerals. I'd counted over 120 names that were signed, and many of the closest relatives, myself, my husband, his brothers, sisters, just didn't sign into the register. So I'm guessing that there were about 150 people there. And the stories just poured in. Great stories of him growing up. All of his teenage and high school friends were there. But there were also stories of struggle that we hadn't heard before. Maybe people weren't sure that it was big enough, that the moment that they experienced with him wasn't something that they should say or talk about. But there was clear evidence that his last 4 to 5 months were definitely different than his previous years of adulthood. The preacher had talked to me about how many young deaths were occurring. And there were also stories of other people's experiences that were the same story of an accidental overdose. The detective that was assigned to his case told me that there were 4 different detectives that managed fentanyl and drug overdose deaths in this area in Middle Tennessee. And each one of them had 10 plus cases assigned to them, active. And there's 40 active fentanyl overdose cases being worked on right now in this city. 40 families just like mine dealing with this grief. But here's the hardest truth. So many of us saw the signs, myself included. But no one stepped in. We didn't gather around him until his funeral. We waited too long. And that's where Lift the Veil begins. This movement is for every parent who's lost a child, every friend who regrets staying silent, every person still searching for a way out. We're done pretending addiction is a private shame. We're done burying people in silence. William was wearing this red bracelet when he died. It was returned to me with his ashes. I don't know why he wore it, but I know this. It's become the heartbeat of our mission. So if you're ready to lift the silence, you're ready to start learning about the stigma and the bias that changes our behavior, even when it's somebody that we love so dearly. And if you believe that stories save lives, join us, share this video, wear the bracelet, and tell your story. And let's lift the veil together.